Cinema Classics is brought to you by the Gateway Film Center, 1550 North High Street, Columbus, Ohio. Further details and showtimes online at gatewayfilmcenter.org.
The award-winning Cinema Classics is produced by John DeSando and Johnny DiLoretto. Listen to the shows and read reviews online at WCBE.org. I'm Johnny DiLoretto.
I'm John DeSando.
This is Cinema Classics.
Arrgh. Yeah.
Oh man, are we already into the pirates? The pirate shenanigans?
Well, I know you haven't seen the new Pirates of the Caribbean.
Nor do I wish to.
Uh-oh, I can sense the tenor of our show. Because I certainly have seen enough of Johnny Depp as a drunken sailor.
Man, they're doing this again against everyone's wishes. No one wants this movie. There's no audience for it right now. They've exhausted, I think, audience goodwill over the course of the last two movies.
Johnny, I'm going to tell you the people clapped at my screening. Now, they clapped because they didn't pay.
Right. People clap at those promotional press screenings because it's free, they had a good time.
I know.
And, you know, their brains are shut down.
All right, when you think of pirates on film, what do you think of?
Well, Captain Hook.
All right.
Immediately springs to mind.
From the Peter Pan.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
And all the different iterations.
Okay.
You know, most recently played, I think, by Christopher Walken on a live television version of Peter Pan. A few years back, you remember that? Yes. I don't know. Well, they did a live...
That's
it was,
right.
You know, a live stage production.
Well, that you're talking about. Also, you're talking about 1991. Was the Dustin Hoffman and Robin Williams?
Well, that's yet another version, right?
Right. And that's the one where you have the clock eating him or something. That stuffed clock.
I don't remember.
All right.
I saw Hook exactly one time in the early '90s, when it came out, and it was considered a flop.
Okay.
It was not one of Spielberg's best.
Okay.
And for many years, it was considered exactly that, like a misstep, one of his worst films. However, over the years, it's been reconsidered. It has a fan base, and there's a small but vocal audience out there that loves that movie.
Yeah. When I think of it, I go way back to Errol Flynn, of course.
Of course.
I mean, yeah. What a curious combination of comic and yet almost a little bit of a bad guy business going on there. I mean, Flynn was such a genius at doing both.
Yeah. Being
a rogue and yet being lovable.
Right. Well, kind of how he was in real life.
That's
true.
Know,
he was a really dashing, suave guy, but also just a hard-drinking, womanizing scoundrel.
It was 1935 was Captain Blood.
Yeah.
And actually, it started out not in a pirate motif because they were slaves on a ship.
Yeah.
And then they had an uprising.
Right.
And he took over, and then they became very bad boys.
Yeah. That one's is Basil Rathbone in that?
I'm not sure.
The bad guy?
Yeah, I think you're right.
There's another one that comes out a few years later called The Seahawk.
Oh, excellent choice. Yes, I got
it. Now, he is not a pirate in it. He's a privateer. But he heads up an armada, I think, and they're looting Spanish ships. So essentially, he is a pirate. He's just...
And do you remember Claude Rains is in that?
Oh, yeah, Claude Rains.
And
Claude Rains.
One of our favorite directors.
Michael Curtiz.
Yeah, what a guy.
I know,
That's the director of Casablanca.
You know, I was thinking about Michael Curtiz. We should do a show on him because I was thinking that Ridley Scott is probably the closest contemporary filmmaker we have to a Michael Curtiz. A guy who jumps from genre to genre, ship to ship like a pirate.
Wow.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, in the 40s, right? Curtiz was in the lineup for Warner Brothers as a director. And they just ship it to him. Here, take this.
Yeah. And
take Captain Blood here. Take Casablanca there.
Cranked out hits.
Holy God.
They died with, westerns. Santa Fe, I think he directed.
Yankee Doodle Dandy.
Yankee Doodle Dandy. The Adventures of Robin Hood. This guy. Now, what about Robin Hood? Does he qualify as a sort of pirate or no? Because he's an outlaw, right? Okay. Right. Pirates are specifically maritime.
Yes, yes, agreed. Let's not forget 1952, Blackbeard the Pirate, Robert Newton.
Oh, wow.
Who does the art.
Yeah, right. He does the art, right?
Yes, he
and
does.
That's Disney, classic Disney.
Yes, there's a quote often made about that kind of jaunty delivery, and this is what he says: Gilly, give him just a tickle with the point of your blade, and about his liver. I mean, that stuff is really, there's some very good stuff.
You know what I remember most from that film are the colors. That Disney era, that 50s era, just burnished.
Yes.
Everything looked blue and red and black.
The blazing colors.
Yeah.
I mean, we've muted them since then.
I know.
What do we call that? What do we call that? The color?
Which color?
The color. The color as it came out that time. I'm trying to think.
Oh, you mean the technical, like the
Technicolor? Technicolor, right? Yeah.
But I don't know if Disney used Technicolor. I'm not sure.
Okay.
But it was beautiful, whatever it was. And Treasure Island. I mean, that's the classic.
1950.
That's also Disney.
You're right. Absolutely. Yep. Then Swiss Family Robinson's good, and you wouldn't think of that, would you?
No.
As a pirate, but
why are we calling that
all
a pirate?
those little ingenious devices that they made were made to protect them from the pirates.
Oh, so it's a pirate. It's a negative pirate film.
Well, it gets close to your original statements about whether pirates are on the sea all the time or not, and yet pirates for the film will be on the sea, but the Swiss Family Robinson is just land-based.
Yeah, right. They're landlocked.
And then in 1987, I think one of the big smash hits.
The best.
Wow.
Pirate. The best screen pirate, I think,
yeah.
of all time.
Then we're talking about The Princess Bride.
Yeah. Carrie Elwes playing the Dread Pirate Roberts, who was not really a pirate, but a hero.
Yes.
And, that performance, I think, is one of the great comic performances of all time. It's such a sly, still heroic, but also very funny performance. And I thought, for sure, that guy would have been destined for megastardom. And yet it never happened for him. He kind of tooled around on the fringes of some, he played a bad guy in a Tom Cruise movie, Days of Thunder, I think, and then it just never clicked, man. He just never. I mean, such great looks.
Yes.
The ability to do comedy, the ability to do. He could have done anything.
And was he the one in the sword fight? That great.
Yeah, the sword fight with Mandy Patinkin.
Whoa!
Yeah.
Oh, excellent. Did we mention it was Rob Reiner as the director?
No, we did not.
All right.
But
which I think adds something.
And also surprised that Reiner never went back to work with him.
Yeah.
Oftentimes, it was one of Rob Reiner's early successes. So, oftentimes directors cling to performers that helped them achieve the artistic success thereafter. So, I'm just interesting.
Let's not forget that sometimes we had a really class actor associated with this, not just Errol Flynn, but Charles Lawton in Captain Kidd.
Oh.
In 1945.
Wow, nice.
Isn't that nice?
That is a good one. Charles Lawton always, for folks who have never seen Charles Lawton perform, who would you say he's akin to? Is it kind of like a British John Goodman in a way, right?
Yeah.
A little more sophisticated.
Yeah, but a guy who could show up almost in any character part.
Yeah.
Let's go back to Pirates of the Caribbean, all right? Because that's what's...
Do we have to?
Well, I'd like to close it out.
Yeah, okay.
All right. 2003 was Pirates of the Caribbean, The Curse of the Black Pearl.
Is that the first one?
Yeah. And that's the one where Johnny Depp comes across with this drunken pirate, and everybody just can't believe.
Yeah, I think it was a really surprise. I remember seeing the film, I think the preview for it, and, felt like I had to be there, had to watch this thing. This is a Disney movie based on a ride with Johnny Depp as the pirate.
Yes.
And what I felt was so delightful for me, seeing that first movie with that, because it was surprising, it was fun, but the performance seemed to be openly contemptible of the movie he was in.
Yes.
That he just invented this thing as a sort of F.U. to anybody who would think that this was going to be good.
Yep.
And it's not that he didn't give a fine performance, but rooting it in this sort of effeminate, drunken sort of thing was, I thought, just a slap in the face to Disney, who produced the film.
Yeah.
But it turned out to be this iconic thing.
Wow, wow. And at that time, Depp, I think we were all in love with Depp. And we saw this as just another eccentric performance. Mm-hmm. And who would have thought he'd continue it ad nauseum till today? But then he has to support, former wives and the island he bought and everything else. So
Did he buy that island off of Brando? Because Brando bought an island.
No, this was off of maybe the coast of Italy or somewhere. But he married Vanessa Paradis, and they had Paradise for a while.
How much is an island? We should get a boat and go out there and pirate that guy.
But what do you think? Do you think we can bury this treasure? Or you're telling me, you're hinting to me there's more to come?
The treasure has been significantly devalued.
Good.